Seeds of doubt create forests of inaction. This video is going to be a really interesting one. So if you've ever related with having great bouts of motivation, thinking you're going to change your life, having that feeling of, oh my God, I can actually do something amazing, but then all of a sudden that feeling just disappearing in a matter of seconds, minutes, like days, almost as if like the soul of the idea that you had just dissipated and died, then this concept's really going to resonate with you because our ideas are genuinely like seeds that we plant within our own mind. And when we have doubt, when we start to question what we're doing, we start to actually fear failing, and thus we stop doing what we actually need to do. And I'll give you a really good example of this, and it's the equivalent of you starting like a new video game with a level 1 character with a stick and thinking that you can kill a dragon. And you're wondering as a level 1 character, how can I kill this dragon? How can I do this? How can I do that? And then just quitting because you know that you can't kill a dragon with a stick. And you ignore the logical chain of reactions, which is you actually go and kill the slime and get to level 2, and so on and so forth until you're max level with the best armor, with 10 companions, defeating the dragon. It's about the process that allows you to actually get there. And so when you have this great vision, and I think you actually have that vision for a purpose, right? You have a reason for having a vision like that from a higher power, if you believe in one, from God. That's what I believe in. And there's a reason why you have that vision, and for that reason, you can't simply question that vision. How can I get there? How can I do this? It's like almost as if you're a light bulb and your purpose is, let's say, to light up and light the room, and you constantly thinking before you even turn yourself on, what if I like run out of electricity? What if this? What if that? No, just turn on. And the trap that a lot of people fall into is that step 0 to step 1 is actually starting that thing, because it's really good to actually think about long-term big goals, having a lot of motivation for it, and that's great. And that's how you get the initial bout of motivation. But the reason why it dissipates in a matter of seconds, minutes, or even days is because then you start questioning about how you can actually get there, how it's possible. And the biggest example in my life was when I wasted years on end of my high school days, because in year 7, I started to learn about what happens in year 12 and what happens in the final exams and how you have to memorize this many essays and do this many things. And I got really intimidated by it, because as a year 7 student who just came freshly into high school from primary school, and basically doing nothing all day, to then learning about how I have to do calculus, it's like I'm jumping steps. And if I really knew that, and if I understood it, I would have realized that that's what cost me years of just productivity. And obviously you shouldn't base your life off productivity, but I'd say I wasted a lot more time than I actually gained anything in return. But those initial years, the initial steps between 0 to 1, is that exponential graph of no progress, right? And if we can just like really shorten that exponential graph of no progress and asymptote ourselves like way up where we should be, that's going to help. Whenever you're thinking about how you're going to achieve something, you're not achieving that thing. Thinking about doing the things and doing the thing, talking about doing the things and doing the thing, writing a list about how you're going to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Doing the thing is doing the thing, and then until then it's simply theory. So if ideas are like seeds within our own minds, a lot of other things can be true also. If we actually build on this motif, we can also say that regardless of how crooked a tree is, each one of them grows towards the sky. It grasps at the sunlight. And in a sense that each of us is unique, each of us has their own progress, each of us does their own things, has their own visions, and grasps towards that vision in our own ways. And at the end of the day, progress is no longer something that matters. Because if you've ever tried to grow a plant, if you've ever tried to really do anything in life outside of yourself, you realize that the plant isn't going to grow overnight. It's going to take like a few weeks, a few months, and you just have to water it and give the things that are necessary for it to not die every single day. Now, what if we can just transition that into our own lives, into what we do every single day, our academics, our fitness life, and just going, this is what we need to do to achieve our dreams. Let's do that every day and not worry about anything else. And let's think about that, right? When were the times that you actually saw progress in your life? It's not when you were constantly thinking about, oh, have I done this? Have I done that? Am I looking good? Am I looking bad? How much have I grown? How much have I lost weight on? And you're not thinking about those things. It's on a random Tuesday, a few months into the gym, a few months into studying, where you're thinking, I did really well. Or it's after an exam and you get like a really good mark and you're thinking, I did really well. Like I thought, in week 4, I didn't even understand week 1 things, but I'm doing really well right now. And that's about not looking at the progress. And it's actually just living life, right? And one of the things that I'll ask you is, when were you the happiest? Most likely when you were a kid. And why is that? It's because when you're a kid, you you are actually experiencing life. So many of us actually fear experiencing life. We fear being the little sprout. We fear being the small tree. We fear the insecurities, the things that we do not have, and we constantly wonder, what if, or what if I was a few inches taller, what if this happens, what if that, and we're constantly fixating upon what we don't have. Think about it. Why is it that by all metrics of what you define yourself to be successful, happy, and everything else, you were underperforming when you were a kid? You weren't tall, you weren't rich, you weren't extremely handsome, but you still enjoyed life. Why is that? It's because you had perspective, right? And you can possibly say that as well. Yeah, I grew up and I understood things. No, growing up doesn't mean you simply stop experiencing life. A lot of us have just forgotten how to experience life, how to be the guy who is fat, how to be the guy who is this person, right? And it's about enjoying the process along the way. What the 6-year-old you realized that you forgot is that it's actually much more enjoyable to do the things that you want to do instead of thinking about the things you don't have. Instead of thinking about how you aren't capable of this or how you're not capable of that, you almost have like a blind confidence on who you are and who you're meant to be, because you have that vision for a reason. That's like the very first trap. If you think that by being yourself you're not going to achieve that vision, like authentically being yourself you're not going to achieve that vision, then that vision was never meant for you. Because being authentic to yourself does mean you do 12-hour work sessions. That does mean you go to the gym every single day. These are the things that are most authentic to you, the feelings that most resonate with you, that makes you the happiest overall. And I don't mean happy in the sense of like, oh yeah, I just did drugs, or I did that and now I'm really happy. I had sex with my girlfriend and now I'm really happy. That's not the point. What I'm talking about is something that's a bit slow burning, that will last a bit longer. And seeing that progress, seeing yourself grow, is one of those things that every single person enjoys. And the practical ways to look at it is, it's pretty simple, right? It's the same thing as nurturing any plant. What do you need to do to water the seed and make it sprout? And so this means for the goals that you have, what do you need to do every single day that in the next year, 2 years, or even a decade, you will inevitably achieve that goal? What do you need to do? Is it to go to the gym every single day? Is it to just study consistently every single day? And if that's the case, then just do it. Easiest way to do this is allowing that thing to be the very first thing you do in the day. Hardest thing, if you do it in the morning just like that, the rest of your day is free. Another thing is, how many times do you remind yourself to water that plant? What are your goals? And look at that, 3 times a day, when you wake up, during the afternoon, when you go to bed. And if you can remind yourself on what you're trying to do, and you also consistently every single day build upon it, and you water the plants that are necessary, you are going to sprout a tree. And remember, maybe you're not like everyone else. Maybe you're not like a pine tree. Maybe you're not like an oak tree. Maybe you're like a bamboo. It takes years on end to grow foundations and roots that no one sees, including yourself, until one day you grow just like that, so fast, so high, that you dwarf everything. Progress isn't linear. Remember that you're still growing towards the sky, and it's pretty unique for each person. So don't doubt yourself. Don't think about it, and just do. There is no ifs, buts, coulds, shoulds, on how you should be. It just is. And we just are. We're fucking human, and for once start living. Except that maybe you're a chud. Except maybe you're fat or stupid or a medium level of like intelligence. It doesn't matter, because you're growing. If you can accept being bad at something, you can get extremely good at it very, very fast by simply letting go of your ego and enjoying the process. Remember, as a kid, you didn't have ego. You just enjoyed your life. Be like a kid. Be like the 6-year-old you with all the capabilities, all of the tools that you have right now. Tackle those issues with the mentality of a kid. Hope that video really helped. If I really watched this video maybe a few years ago, it would have helped me a ton as well. So if you guys like this video, just let me know, and I'll see you guys next time.